In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I will begin this day. I thank you, Lord, for having preserved me during the night. I will do my best to make all I do today pleasing to you, in accordance with your will. My dear Mother Mary, watch over me this day. My guardian angel, take care of me. Saint Joseph and all you saints of God, pray for me. Amen. All you saints of God, pray for me. Amen.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Mary, help of Christians, pray for us. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Good morning, educators. Good morning, everybody. This is Reggie Bundang from Don Bosco Press, Incorporated. Welcome to Chalk Talk Online. Chalk Talk Online is an online teacher training program that Don Bosco Press provides its partner schools. Chalk Talk Online, in partnership with the Psychological Association of the Philippines, presents to you today its second installment with the topic, Creating a Mental Health Program for Schools in this Time of the Pandemic. So this is going to be another productive and informative morning for all of us. So let us start the ball rolling. To welcome you all and to introduce our speakers for today, we'd like to call in our Executive Director from Don Bosco Press Incorporated, Brother Carmelo Martinez, Salesians of Don Bosco.
Good morning and thank you, Ma'am Reggie. Good morning to our dear participants to this Chalk Talk online series. As mentioned already, this is in partnership with the Psychological Association of the Philippines. And so we thank PAP, currently headed by Dr. Ron Resurrection, for this wonderful collaboration between them and Don Bosco Press. May I just ask you to answer this poll, asking you, how are you this morning? A, are you happy? B, are you sad? C, anxious? D, inspired? Are you motivated? Are you down or excited? Okay. We are happy that many are happy and motivated. A good number of our participants are also excited. But we admit the fact that there are people in our company right now who are a bit anxious. And 2% of our participants this morning are also feeling sad. As usual, we just ask everyone to stay with their feelings, just be present with your feeling, and we hope that this morning, our interaction, our input will help you feel better. Thank you for responding to our poll. We started this series last July 24 with the topic on mental health program in school, suggested scope, support system, and structure. And we still remember the valuable input of Dr. Tata Hernani. Now, in our second session, we shall be discussing the more practical aspects of promoting mental health through this session entitled Creating a Mental Health Program for School in this Time of Pandemic. We know that many schools have already started their work. Some are in their in-service training for their faculty members. Others are offering bridging programs or orientation for their students. And others are in various stages of preparation for the start of the new school year. But what we have been hearing so far in our interactions with school administrators, with teachers, with guidance counselors, with students, and even parents is that since we are in a different and rather difficult situation, we are all experiencing some sort of discomfort and stress. And so perhaps our topic for today is timely and relevant given these issues that we are currently facing. We hope that we will all learn from the input today, the second installment in a series of 4 sessions. Thank you very much for choosing to spend your morning with us. And if you find these sessions helpful, please share them with your friends and colleagues. In connection to this, we are happy to announce that all the previous sessions of the different SalesianaBooks Chalk Talk online series organized by Don Bosco Press have already been uploaded in our YouTube channel. They're available for use, for download, for sharing. We will be very happy to know that we are able to contribute in providing you with free, reliable, and relevant training and input for the betterment of our teachers, our learners, and everyone involved in the formation of young people. I just have one last poll for you this morning. What will be your main task this coming school year? Are you part of the guidance office? Are you a guidance counselor? Are you a subject teacher? Are you a class advisor? Are you part of the school administration? Or you belong to the non-teaching personnel or others? You're a parent or other role that you will have during the school year. Okay, thank you for answering. Yeah. Majority of our participants this morning are either coming from the guidance counseling area and the school administration. There are also participants who are at class advisors, subject teachers, and around 17% of you present here this morning identified themselves as going to take tasks belonging to others. Thank you so much. Once again, thank you very much and welcome to this second installment of Promoting Mental Well-Being in School series. Pagpalain po tayo ng poong may kapal. Masaya po kami dito sa Don Bosco Press na makasama kayo ngayong umaga. It is also my duty to introduce to you our speaker and our moderator this morning. Our speaker is Miss Giselle Grace Galanzola Diaz. She graduated with a bachelor's degree in psychology at Brokenshire College in Davao with Academic Excellence Award. She completed her Master's of Science degree in psychology from the Ateneo de Davao University. She has worked as a clinical intake interviewer at the Counseling and Psychological Wellness Center and as a student advisor at Brokenshire College Guidance Center. And currently, she is working as full-time professor and program coordinator for psychology at San Pedro College, also in Davao City. She is a certified mental health first responder. She is also a trained mentor and facilitator for the Ayala leadership communities. And also she is a mental health awareness advocate and a resource person for seminar workshops conducted to various industries, government agencies, churches, colleges, and universities. As an educator and a registered psychologist, Ms. Diaz still prefers to carry the title of being Mr. PJ Diaz's wife and Ethan's full-time mother. So our speaker for this morning is Miss Giselle Grace Galanzoga Diaz. We are also happy to inform you that Professor Diaz will be joined in by Miss Juliet Consista, who will be our moderator in the discussion later. Miss Juliet is a licensed guidance counselor and is currently the guidance counselor of the Ateneo de Manila University Junior High School Department. Friends, Let us welcome our speaker and later on our moderator for our morning session. By the way, our speaker is coming all the way from Davao. So we hope that she'll be able to connect easily. So she is based in Davao City. She'll be coming over. She'll be um, talking all the way, speaking, giving her talk all the way from San Pedro College. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
And yeah, welcome to this session. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, brother. Good morning, everyone. I just want to know if everything's all right with the audio and the video. Okay. So, once again, good morning, and I hope we will have a very productive time today. And this time, for the second installment of the series, we will be talking about creating a mental health program for school in the time of pandemic. So basically, the focus for today is going to be it's more of the concrete steps necessary at setting up programs and creating structures that will address the current needs and situations of students and teachers. I hope that all of us will have a very stable and good internet connection today, so that we'll be able to really tackle the topic well. Okay, so let me just start off by saying that, of course, we have the mental health law, and it's actually a young law as of the moment, the Republic Act 11036. And this basically tells us that it's the right of every Filipino to receive mental health service, basically for free. Okay, and it has provisions for different in workplaces, in educational settings, and etc. And hopefully, since this is yet a very new law, I hope that this will be given a more focus this time, especially that it has been said that the first part of the pandemic is physical health uh, the physical health crisis. Then we are now undergoing the economic crisis, and probably the third wave for sure will be the mental health crisis. So that's a bit challenging. That's really challenging for all of us working in this kind of profession. So, the educational institutions shall ensure the integration of mental health into the educational system, and hopefully the students, the employees, everyone, the stakeholders will be able to receive programs that would first raise awareness on mental health issues. Because basically, as I'm moving around in schools and in other companies talking about mental health awareness, I have seen that up to this point, the stigma is really still there. And even the people that we thought of, yung parang we are thinking na educated na sila because they have this title and that. But actually, when when you ask questions about mental health, then you can see that they are still not learned at all. And you can also see that the stigma nga is really still there. So this is number one, to raise awareness. And then programs that would identify and provide support and services for individuals at risk. This time we are getting into, we are now identifying those people who are at risk, and hopefully we can provide support to these people in the school whom we think are at risk, or those who have conditions. And then the third one is to facilitate access, including referral mechanisms of individuals with mental health conditions to treatment and psychosocial support. This is very important because now that we have identified these people, we would like to refer them. Let's go to the third part, the programs that would facilitate access, including referral mechanisms of individuals with mental health conditions to treatment and psychosocial support. As much as possible, we can strengthen our referral system because we know for a fact that we do not know everything and we cannot handle everything. At dito na po, magtutulungan ang mga mental health professionals and also, one thing to look into is that you should get to have deeper friendships with with other mental health professionals because we just don't refer them to people we do not know. Like example, you know somebody, a psychiatrist or a psychologist for that matter, you just know the name tapos sasabihin mo sa student na okay, you go to this person at that office. I think it is really imperative that we actually know these people so that it will be an informed referral. And with that being in mind, we know that we are really guiding them and we know that we are giving them the right kind of help because we actually know the people that we are referring them to. Okay, did you get that? So, dapat hindi lang din talaga giving them names, but actually knowing the people and knowing the mental health professionals that will cater them. Okay? And then, all right. For last 2 weeks installment with Dr. Hernani, this was already mentioned. He talked about the scope and structure of mental health program, right? So I saw in his slides that he also a little bit talked about the stages in program development. So if you can see right here, the forming of the team, the conferencing, or wherein you do some expectation checking and then you assess the current program if there is, or you assess the needs and evaluate what you have already. And then you get to go on the planning and designing of activities or of the program. After that, you monitor, you evaluate, and if you see that there's a need to change it, then you go for program modification. Now, I know for a fact that I'm speaking to people, to an audience today who are experts and are very good at program development. So, parang even though you have that capacity already and that you have that skill, but anyways, let's just navigate the process from step one until the last step so that we'll be able to come up with a mental health program. Okay? Especially at a very special time such as this. So this is also part of Dr. Hernani's talk. I'm just going to just run it down and later on I'll have it step by step. I'll have it really being, we will talk about it and tackle on it step by step. So here, you assess the needs and then you gather the evidences, may mga consultation and negotiation going on. Of course, you can get the point of views of other people when you collaborate with other sectors. It's very important that you just don't do that uh, on a in school basis, but you also have other stakeholders that can help you in the decision making process. And then you review the assessment outcome and review existing literatures to see what is really the need or what gaps to to meet. And then review your vision, mission, the values, principles of your school so that it will connect with the mental health program that you want to come up with. And then we will also determine the areas of concern, the gaps, the planned course of action, and of course, confer with collaborators while you are doing or formulating the project. We will assign time frames, goals, and targets so that it's more realistic and more time bounded. This is important. We determine the costs and the available resources, especially at a time like this. Okay. Um, we just don't want to craft a program and then splurge on what we don't have. So it's important to really know the costs and the available resources that we have as of the moment. And then identify the roles and responsibilities of all the people involved, disseminate the project to these people as much as possible. If you can, generate social political support para mas mapalawak talaga ang ating mental health program. Do some partnerships and linkages so that it will be a better program. And then empower stakeholders, especially the frontline health providers, promote interactions among stakeholders, and conduct program evaluation, monitoring, assessment, and etc. Now, that's a little overview. That's a little review, actually, of what Dr. Hernani said. Let's go to the step-by-step process this time. By the way, before I continue, are you okay? Are you still all right? How are you? Okay lang ba ho ba tayo? You can use the chat box section if you want to agree, if you want to just anything. Okay? So if you want to share your thoughts and all. All right. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So this is the first concrete step. We are now to the concrete steps that we are talking about. So, number one, commit and provide leadership. Who will be the captain of the ship? Someone has to really take the initiative to initiate the program, to start the program. And when somebody takes on the role, then eventually people come, people gather, and people connect to be able to help that project. So someone must provide the leadership. In the case of the students, probably usually in some organizational structures, the one that really comes into the leadership there, the forerunner of the mental health program is the guidance office. Tama ho ba? Is that the same thing with you on your schools? And for those providing mental health programs to the employees, the one that takes the center stage there is the HR, the Human Resources Department, 'di ba? Someone has to man the ship. Uh, I I think dito talaga papasok yung great role ng administrators, the school admin. I'm glad that there are school administrators who are part of the audience right now, because someone has to lead the program. But as you lead the program and as you gather people who will be helping you, there will now be a collaborative management. Meaning, you're going to share in the decision-making process. So even though somebody started it, but that one person will not decide for everything because it's a collaborative management. You get that? So someone must provide leadership. And of course, when there is a person leading, the commitment also is really there. The time commitment, especially important, because it's not as easy as making anything, as making any document and all. Um, that is the that's the thing right there. So I'm seeing here both students and employees, guidance center is responsible. So we can see, thank you for that answer, Sir Randy. We can see that it actually depends on the organizational structure that we belong to. So nakadepende siya. Merong mga organizational structures that are really, they are disseminating the project to the HR and to the guidance center. So it actually depends on where do we belong to. Okay. Now let's go to the second concrete step: the importance of building a one strong team. And ideally, the team should include first, we hope that this is the initiator, the administrator, then your mental health services disabilities component manager. In our case, in our school, we have what we call the occupation, the OSH, okay, occupational safety. And part of the occupational safety are the physical health services, the mental health services, etc. So somebody mans the mental health services under the occupational safety and health. That's it. And then the guidance director and the personnel, if possible, the HR director and the staff, representatives from the teaching staff, because the teaching staff are the frontliners in really detecting if something's wrong with the students. And sila din yun talagang dapat may alam sa mental health first aid because they are the ones in contact with the students. Then the representatives from other direct service staff who are interested in working on mental health planning. This may mean the some non-teaching personnel, the bus drivers, the security guards, people who may have an involvement in watching over the kids. Okay, and then parent representatives from your policy council or other interested parents. This one's really important. And then our community partners or partner linkages. And this one's optional depending on the budget. Okay? Optional, you may want to include a mental health consultant in this process. This is a very good option, but this may entail a financial thing because of course you're going to get the services of somebody expert, somebody who is expert in the field. Good thing in our school, there are many psychologists in the school. So it's an in-house mental health consultant because we get to have the services of other psychologists in the school. And then here, an effective planning team usually includes mga ideals lang naman din ito. Okay, it usually includes not more than 8 individuals, someone who has strong facilitation skills, and ideally has done strategic planning before. Just so that when there is a conference, they know what to do. They will not just agree lang ng agree, but they will also give in and provide something to the table. Now, these are ideals. And if we are not doing it in our schools, it's just all right because we have different organizational structures depending on the kind of setup that we have. Okay? But the most important thing here is that we'll be able to come up with and gather that one strong team who is dedicated to really bring mental health to our clients, to our students, to our parents, and to our employees. The third one, yeah, this is the third step, the vision articulation. So what's the imagined future that you are all striving for? What do you have in mind? What's the imagined future? What's your vision? A vision statement states the values or the guiding beliefs and the purpose of mental health services within your organization. Get group consensus on this written vision statement and use it as a touchstone for developing your strategic plan. So this vision articulation actually will have something to do with the existing VMG of our institutions. How are we going to like jive it into the vision of our mental health program? Kasi dapat connected siya. And as I know, most of the schools in here who are participating are coming from Catholic schools. So we see that spirituality is part of our VMG. How are we going to connect that with our mental health programs, vision, and goals? So you just have to connect it through. Then we are now on our fourth concrete step. Let us identify the goals and objectives. Focus on setting goals and objectives for your mental health approach. And as much as possible, goals and objectives that are attainable. Hindi yung super cloudy that we want our students to be happy and healthy. Now, that is an example of big, um, a very big heavenly goal, no, and objective. We want it to be very specific. You know the smart thing, diba? Specific, measurable. We want it to be like that. And important din yung time bounded siya. Like for one school year, what are we planning to attain? Okay? Objectives are statements of things that your program can do or achieve in a relatively short time frame. You may want to have some objectives for your current program year and some for the upcoming years. And very vital part in the identifying of the goals and objectives is that you know the needs of the stakeholders. So, kailangan yung needs assessment. In the old normal, we get to have the needs assessment survey through paper and pen. Um, but this time it's different. So we'll really have to know skills in Google Forms, no? Technical skills. We need to have that so that we can still continue our program running. Okay? So that also we'll be able to assess the needs of our partners, of our clients or students and our parents. Then we go to the next step. It's designing and developing strategies. This is the time wherein after you have the list of your goals and objectives, diba, yung vision is kind of big, and then you narrow it down to your objectives and goals. This time, you have to prioritize, strategize, and plan the next steps on how are you going to meet the goals and objectives that you have. So strategies are what you're going to need to do in order to accomplish the objectives. They are the how, and sometimes they are called activities. Ano yung mga activities mo to meet the the identified goals and objectives of your program? So the activity that I'm going to mention this moment is actually our activities in the old normal. Okay, as we can see here, activities such as visiting to classrooms on a monthly basis to provide coaching to teachers. Probably this is a work of a mental health consultant. Oo. Imo-monitor niya how do the teachers inside the classroom do about and go about in the delivery of the mental health program, and then learn specific techniques for redirecting children's behavior, establish interagency referral agreements, partner linkages, and change policy or procedure for those in the admin group. So these are activities that we may do as the design for our mental health program. But of course, welcome to the new normal. This is an unprecedented time, and activities that I've mentioned now will not really work as of this moment. But we can still do things, I believe. Would you agree with me? Yeah. Let's be hopeful that we can still do things. We can still provide mental health services to our students, but in a different platform, in a different manner this time. Oo. Yun lang yung pag-aaralan talaga natin. How are we going to navigate the new normal activities? And then, make the strategic plan actionable by indicating, of course, who will be responsible for that, for each strategy, and then establish a timeline na when it should be accomplished. So we know that timelines should be realistic given that we all have different works to do. We are not hired to, okay, let's make it clear. In the school, you are not hired to make a mental health program. That's why this is just part of your other uh, other tasks and responsibilities. So for those who are manning the program, also be realistic to the people, to the staff who are part of the group, because they do have other activities that are work related, and this one's just an added thing, no, on their jobs and responsibilities. So that's it. Include the deadlines and who's going to make it, and make sure that everyone is committed to the deadline. Ayan. Now here's a sample. The objective there, the action and strategy, who's responsible, and the target completion date. Okay, let's see. The objective is to help parents better understand children's mental health issues. So how are we going to do this? Offer at least 2 parent classes or support groups annually. Focus on mental health related topics. So that's an action. Who will be responsible for doing this? Then the family services coordinator, or whoever is whatever the title is, who's going to do that in your organization. And then the target completion date, ongoing. Okay. Or you can offer stress reduction or support groups for parents. And who's going to do that? The management team. The target completion date is until 2021. So this is just a sample of what I was trying to say a while ago. Now, you have designed. Now that the activities are in and we're going to do them now let us try to observe the activities. Schedule a follow-up meeting no more than 2 months after you finalize your initial plan to check in and monitor the progress regularly. Are our activities really helping our clients? Are we targeting the goal? Are we hitting it right? Okay? And to help brainstorm or problem solve any barriers that may emerge. So yun na. Imo-monitor siya regularly and evaluate progress and try to revisit as needed specific objectives or activities that may be more or less difficult to implement. So try to evaluate the progress and then revisit the things and the items there that you need to like modify. And with that, we get to the last part wherein we will either tweak it, we will either fine tune some adjustments, or we will really transform the entire program because you saw at the end that it wasn't working at all. So, yun na. Imo-modify siya. So, that's it. In summary, as you can see, commit and provide leadership. You must build that one strong team. Vision articulation is very important. Then you identify the goals and objectives. Then design and develop strategies. You try to observe the current program. You update if there's a need. And then tweak or transform if really there's a chance to do it. Now, if you're very keen on what I'm presenting, you would see that the first letters of the of each what do you call that, of each concrete step will be forming 2 words. Sige daw, can we see who can put that on our chat box? What can you see now? What will be the 2 words that will come out from the first letters of our concrete steps? Back. That's it. Very good. COVID out. Because this is what's changing the game. Because of this pandemic, the usual way of doing the mental health program and actually implementing that is now challenged by the pandemic. So I believe this COVID out this is Project COVID out. Okay? This is everybody's wish and everybody's prayer that eventually it will one day will come up a point in our time wherein we can wake up and say, wow, COVID's out. That's it, right? So just for you, I just came up with this just so that you will not forget the steps. Okay? Just so that you will not forget the concrete steps. So, COVID out. That's commit and provide leadership. One strong team is needed. Vision articulation, identify goals and objectives, design and develop strategies, observe, update, and tweak or transform. Now, this pandemic, as I've said a while ago, has been changing the game big time. So, while I am done telling you about the concrete steps, let me now bring you to a more realistic world where we are in. And eventually, we will see the current scenario. And with that, we will come up with a better mental health program. Okay. Eto talaga, no? Hindi ko pa siya sinasabi, but the challenges are already showing. Okay. Now they said, we'll have to look at the silver lining. So on a positive note, um, what's happening right now is with the absence of private and business appointments, travels, and etc., then it has brought rest and relaxation into family life. I don't know if this is applicable for all, but for those employees who have been um, who have always been praying for weekend, parang all of a sudden naging weekend every day. Tama ba? Oo, naging wow, wow, rest day every day. And we are not used to a rest day every day, but somehow, yes, it has brought rest, physical rest for those who are really working hard, always on the go. Parang, oops, napa-stop tayo ng konti. And it has brought rest and relaxation. I don't know if you will agree. You can agree on our comment section. Um, that's according to some surveys, yun nga, uh, parang parang nag-gather ulit yung family life. You focus, parang mas may focus this time sa family life. And then, it may strengthen the sense of community and cohesion among family members. Just because you are together now, always together now. So, mas nagkakaroon ng sense of community, and then strong connection, and then you also now try to check on your family members, relatives who are not living with you. You contact them once in a while, try to know if they are okay, things like that. And then here's another thing, okay? Look at this. Children troubled by school due to bullying or other stressors can experience the situation of homeschooling as relieving. There has been, okay, as of the moment, studies particularly referring to the effect of pandemic aren't that much. So most of the time, what comes out in write-ups and articles are just siguro mga surveys lang around, but it's not really that full-blown research yet or full-blown studies regarding to the effects of this pandemic. So it has been found out by some that those who are experiencing, students who are experiencing bullying in schools now can like, uh, what do you call that? Have that relieving moment for a while because the bullies are not around. But take note, because it's not just physical bullying. We know that. Meron din tayong tinatawag na social media bullying. So parang, so yeah, the physical bullying will not anymore be, we can prevent that now because you are not in contact with your other classmates, but social media bullying is still up now that everyone's into social media, right? Okay. So these are probably the positive things we can get out from what's happening now, the silver lining. But realistically, this is what's happening. Are you ready? Okay, this is it. The National Center for Mental Health reported a spike in the number of Filipinos facing mental health issues due to the pandemic. And right now, they're receiving an average of like 30 to 35 calls in just a span of 3 months from the usual 13 to 15 calls that they get for like a year before the pandemic. So you see, it has doubled. The calls for the anxious calls, the calls for help are now increasing according to the NCMH. And this gives us really a loud message that people are in distress, people are anxious, and they need their emotions to be validated. They need to be relieved. Kaya tumatawag sila to the hotlines. And then we see here another thing that's really happening realistically is the prohibition of contact to peers. And it has been said that this prohibition may have a negative impact on children, given the importance of peer contact for well being. Because as you can see, uh, we know the developmental milestones of the kids, that the peers are a primary source of comfort or primary source of support during this time. But given that the friends are not around, they are just at home, this might have a negative impact on the well-being of the kids growing up. School routines are also important coping mechanisms for those who have mental health issues. Why? Because the routines give them a direction. Parang it's it, it's giving them some way to be able to process life through and continue life. But now that the usual routine is being hindered, so that's another problem because disrupting the routine is like losing an anchor in life and you don't know what's happening. Diba? I even think that it's not just for kids, but even for us who are at on usually on a work routine, no, your body is conniving with that routine and then suddenly nawala. So imagine the emotional toll it has on people going through those things. And according to Zenania Chu of a psychologist in Hong Kong, now that schools are closed, some lock themselves up inside their rooms for weeks, refusing to take showers, eat, or leave their beds. So that would probably be a new problem arising. Now this will really not be applicable for everyone, for every kid. But for those who are at risk, yes, this will be a tendency. Okay. Another problem staying at home and not going outside, although even before the pandemic, this is already a problem. Correct? Tama ho ba? But this time, it's going to be more of a problem because they are inside the home and they have nothing to do except to to have the gadgets, to manipulate the gadgets. So another problem we see here is the gadget dependency. Now, I've read an article where a mother said that she has a problem with her daughter as she wakes up in the morning daw kasi, uh, TikTok, right? So early in the morning, nagti-TikTok video and then she found out that her daughter had a different name, a different identity in social media. So that's another thing that's alarming because the digital self right now is different from what was from the kid, no? Gumagawa ng bagong pangalan and chine-change ang age ng mga bata. Yes, that's very alarming for a parent. So because of the gadget dependency, um, some kids, if you take the gadgets away from them, will they will really uh, they will really cry so much, they will cry hard, and then para bang if you ask them why, I cannot live without it. Yun pa yung lumalabas na mga statements. So nakakatakot yung ganun. In the literature, this is another problem. An increase of all forms of child maltreatment has been proven during a recession in a wide variety of cultures. So, based on this finding, a worldwide increase in the risk for children and adolescents during this pandemic is a plausible assumption. I have watched one time on a national TV. Um, it was being shown that indeed there are accounts of increasing cases of physical, verbal, emotional, and even sexual abuse to kids during the time of pandemic, because uh, we know that people's at home, and um, parents are in distress, so they are always in a bad mood, so pwedeng doon no napasa na transfer yung feelings towards the kids, so kaya lumalala, and it's even increasing the forms of child maltreatment on all abuses towards our children. So these are the reality that's going on. Now, who are the high risk children? Let's just get to know who are they. High risk would mean, number one, the financially disadvantaged. They are at high risk because for them, on a personal level, mag-i-increase yung disparity towards families, between families, because they can now like compare other parents who are very supportive to other children, binilahan ng laptop, binilahan ng gadget, binilahan ng good internet connection, and here I am, my parents don't have it, we are poor, etc., etc. So, yun, on the part of the kid, a dissonance is happening, and mako-compare niya yung support given by other parents in connection and in relation to the parents niya na wala namang anything else, may not have the sufficient budget for it. And with that, telemedicine and telepsychiatry may be less accessible because that's the only mode of treatment this time, the online treatment. And they may not be able to access that because in the first place, they don't have a gadget or a laptop to access it. And also in a 2018 paper published in Health Economics, Goldberstein and his co-authors studied economic conditions in the US from 2001 to 2013 and found that during the Great Recession, there is an astounding 35% to 50% increase in clinically meaningful childhood mental health problems. What does that mean? When the economy is in a bad place, kids' mental health gets worse. And this is backed up by researches that yun nga, when the economy gets worse, what suffers next is the mental health of our kids. Another high risk would be the children with chronic disorders, special needs like medical, developmental, mental health issues, learning and behavioral problems. So children with those things, because therapies as of this time may have been reduced or canceled. Because of course, we are all preserving ourselves not to, to contract that virus, no? So as much as possible with physical distancing, we don't want to be associated with people yet. And with that, the therapies may have been reduced or canceled or may have been lengthened and prolonged. So with that, nai-increase yung anxiety and agitation of these children who are already having the condition. And the lack of access to health services can be particularly detrimental because the severity and outcome of mental health disorders could worsen because of the delay that happened, the delay in prompt diagnosis and the delay in treatment. So that would be a really big problem now. Additionally, children and adolescents who have experienced adversity even before the pandemic are now at a higher risk. Because imagine when things are just normal, they are already going through some things, they are already anxious, emotionally down na sila. Now that these things happening, it adds up to what's already causing them pain. And because of that, they will develop a higher risk. They might develop a higher risk of anxiety, and they would adopt dysfunctional strategies. What do we mean with dysfunctional strategies? Strategies such as self-harming, okay? 'Di ba? Just so that the stress and the anxiety will not be given um, attention. They will do some other things like causing harm to themselves as a way of mechanism, a coping mechanism. But we know that that's not a healthy coping mechanism at all. Now that I am already presenting to you the challenges as of the moment, how are we now going to meet the pressing need? Okay? Coming up with a mental health program at a normal time is already tedious. Mahirap na siya. Kailangan siya ng madaming consultations, madaming meetings, etc. And now that it happened, and at such a time as this even makes it more challenging for all of us who are in this profession. So, friends, how are we going to meet this need? The pressing need at the moment, especially that COVID is still in and not out. Okay, so here are some strategies here that might do something with your planned activities and devising of your programs. There's a need for capacity building. This one, what Don Bosco, mag-segue lang tayo, what Don Bosco is doing now is actually gearing on towards capacity building, helping you guys, administrators, guidance personnel, teachers, to really get the necessary skills and the necessary knowledge just so that you know what to do for such a time as this. Okay? And I know that the next installment will be also talking about the skills. I forgot, but it's more of the psychosocial. What's that? The facilitation skills that teachers as first aid responders need to know. You will have that in the next installment. So please do not be absent for the next installment. Yeah, thank you, Miss Julia. The psychosocial skills that a teacher must have just so that you know how to deal with your students. Okay, so this is capacity building. And one more thing, the webinars that we are attending, I hope, I really hope that we attend webinars for the purpose of really wanting to learn something out of it and not just to gain uh, certificates or added points or what. Okay. Those are perks of joining webinars, but really the full intention why we want to join is because we need to be trained. Uh, we need to be monitored. We need to have added learning and skill and competence to really navigate this time. So yun po. Capacity building, coaching, webinars, training, go ahead. Grab every opportunity to attend webinars that will really be helpful for us in our profession. Okay? Some strategies as well would be, of course, we are already doing this, partnering with the parents. But this time, this will even be more conscious effort to really partner with them now that they are the, now that the students, their children are really with them 24/7. So partner with them in your mental health program. Kaya nga po, part ng capacity building is dapat kasali din sila parents. They would know what to do in case that they have detected something wrong from their children. Okay, so that's it. And then we have this one, the effective social media campaign. I'm asking around to some of my friends in the guidance guidance centers. And this one's what they are doing as of the moment. They are strengthening their social media campaign. They actually have a page of a Facebook page of their office, and then every day they intentionally upload stuffs, information about depression, anxiety, uh, good coping mechanisms. They do that. Kasi naman, we know that students are primarily on social media now. So, the best way to counter the negative things on social media is also to bombard them with really positive uh, mental health awareness campaigns on our social media. Usually, we just go through, di ba, parang we only have most of us adults are on Facebook only. But most of the kids, adolescents are on Twitter. So if you can like explore Twitter for that matter, para lumalabas din sa feeds nila yung mga positive messages and lines that we can give them, then go ahead. But this time, this is really prepping yourself up to be technically good as well. Now, this is really a challenge for all of us kasi we all are living in different times of our lives, no? May millennials, may centennials, meron ding mga in denials of their age. So, we don't have a choice but really to learn things and especially be techy because that's the only way this time to really provide support and to provide help. Okay? Then this one's also actually going on right now. The online group guidance sessions wherein during the homeroom group ano yung tawag dyan? Homeroom sessions ng teacher, they are giving like one or twice a month to the guidance counselors just so that they can handle the entire homeroom time for uh, for the students, for the class. So this is a one-time, big-time giving of a mental health awareness, trying to ask them how they are, no? So better din if ma-explore natin ito. The problem we only have is that, example, for Zoom, do we have a premium account? Kasi if we don't have that premium account, naku po, after 40 minutes, makakat off na tayo. So, that's another thing that people in the admin may want to provide. Okay? Premium accounts of internet platforms, learning management systems, and also a good internet connection. Okay. Here, telecounseling. This has been gaining really okay. Okay. Telecounseling, this is the number one thing being used right now when it comes to providing counseling to students who are really at risk no, as of the moment. And as we can see here from the slide, telecounseling from the convenience and the comfort of home. I just don't know if you will agree with the convenience and comfort of home. Now that realistically, we are having problems with internet connection. So with that being said, na nadi-disrupt yung good mood mo at the moment to do the counseling work or to provide assistance kasi 'di ba nai-irritate ka na that your internet connection is fluctuating. Now this is really a problem. Something that we just have to deal as of the moment and hoping really for an improvement in the internet service providers or probably a new internet provider for the entire Philippines, hopefully. So we also know that at home, especially if you're a mother, and I can attest to this, if you're at home, And of course, your kids are running around. You have a toddler. Good luck. Uh, Eto na talaga. How can you do about the job if the environment in itself is not conducive? So, anyways, let's just go through this process. Okay. So, on telecounseling, here are the things we need to have, the technical prerequisites. Just like what I said a while ago, your internet speed. Kasi baka ang layo na ng sinasabi mo, you are like two paragraphs already in your speech, in your talk, pero doon pala on the other end, nakastop na yung face mo, video is already freezing, and the other end's not hearing you anymore. So, ang sayang naman ng mga words of wisdom natin doon, di ba? Yan. So, technical prerequisites, very important. And I hope the admin can really help on this part because I'm hearing the clamor of some of some teachers now that, um, especially for those not having Wi-Fi connection at home, so they have to load every now and then for a specific session. Like for a day, pag may klase, kailangan 200 load. So how many? It's a big chunk of our budget, of our monthly budget, right? That's why we are hoping that this concern will really be escalated and will be considered as part of the mental health program. Okay? Itong technical prerequisites na kailangan i-meet. And then, concerns about data protection and high technical protection standards should be addressed. Of course, with the data privacy law, we can't just get information that easily now. But good thing is that we have, as I would like to presume, we already have a personal profile of our students, of which we can just go back to anytime. And from there, get the necessary data that we need. But of course, if you need additional information, then you'll have to do it right, ask permission. And since most of our clients are pupils or they are minors, so we need informed assent for that matter. Ayun. So things like that. And then user-friendly systems that can be used by all age groups regardless of abilities shall be established. So you don't have naman to get into a very complicated learning management system. Yung mga user-friendly things lang, user-friendly systems lang that we all can just jump into and work through. Okay? Now, it has been shown in several studies, reviews, and meta analysis that online delivered psychotherapeutic care for children and adolescents is feasible and effective. Wow. According to data, according to research, effective daw pala siya. So that at this point in time, it can be understood as a primary source of standard care in times of restricted physical contact. Feasible and effective. And I think what makes it feasible and probably effective to the younger population, if we do it with them, is it because they are digital natives and the technology is not something that's hard for them to navigate. No, it's their home, kumbaga. The problem now would lie on us if we are not so much into the technological advances. So yun. So for them, the new platform is not a new thing. So there's no new adjustments anymore. And yun na nga. Okay? However, not all children and adolescents may have the technical equipment for telecounseling. So yun na nga. Isang problem siya. They may not be that financially able to provide themselves with that thing. And more importantly, not all may have the opportunity for a safe, confidential space at home. I have a story. Uh, One time, um, my friend counselor was actually doing this telecounseling to a student, but because the student is in a house that that doesn't have partitions, meaning andyan lang yung mama niya, this and that, no? Parang it would be very difficult for the student to let out, especially if the parents yung problem. So sabi niya, "Ma'am, I cannot talk to you. I cannot talk to you on a video. Can we do it through Messenger?" So imagine, counseling in Messenger. Good thing for the students kasi 'di ba, when they are at the height of the moment, of the emotion, talagang ang bilis maka-type ng mga batang ito. Pero goodness, the counselor, the adult counselor now has a problem with the response because it would take time for her to respond. Kasi nga kailangan na, 'di ba? Hindi siya as fast as the student. So that's a problem, no? Pero nga nag-adjust si counselor because the student as well cannot cannot do it this by telling, cannot do the telecounseling because the home in itself is not a safe and a confidential place or a space to start with. Wow, grabe. So, is this what's happening to all of us now? Parang, wow, ang daming problem ang daming challenges nangyayari Parang nakaka-overwhelm ang mga pangyayari. Ah, kailangan pa natin gumawa ng mental health program, tapos ito pang mga nangyayari, pandemic pa, etc. This is probably what's happening to you and some your messenger or your emails or your texts may have already been flooded by students or parents who need support at the moment and you might be in an overwhelmed state. But participants for today, let me just remind you that I'm actually ending. Okay. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So we believe in safety first, right? But at the same time, we also believe in taking care of yourself first. Because you can never give that full support if you yourself is not in a right frame and not in a right condition as of the moment. Kulang ang tulog, walang kain, pagod dahil ang daming nilabhan. You've been cleaning the house for how many months now? And with all the responsibilities and all the anxieties with our budgeting and everything, with all that, this might cause some toll on us. And when somebody comes to you for help, you may not be able to give them the help that they need because ikaw mismo, you're already empty. So very important that on a daily basis, we really fill ourselves up. That also we feel good. We feel good about ourselves and that siguro may mga problems naman, but emotionally we can still regulate it and then we can handle it. It's very important that on a day-to-day basis we really pray, no, fill ourselves up, and at the same time, what counselors do most of the time is yung mindfulness, no, reflecting at the start of the day, just trying to like breathe in, breathe out. Yun. Friends who are watching today, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So you've got to fill your love tank. You've got to fill your emotional tank just so that you can give more. All right? And we may not be able to render our services this time face to face, but we can still journey with them from face to face. So, may mga problems, yes, but you know naman, we can always find ways, no? Um, the ways may not be easy, but still we can find ways. So, yun lang siguro na we still have got to be journeying with them at such an anxious time as this. Okay? So, because of that, craft your mental health program now. Okay? And do not forget our COVID out, because we're still going to give them the services, the right to access this mental health service. So, here we can, like, uh, okay, wait. Ayan. So just reminding you of the COVID out, commit and provide leadership, go get that one strong team, vision articulation, identify goals and objectives, design and develop strategies, observe, update, tweak, or transform. I'm going to end this with a little story, the redwood forest. So the redwood is a kind of tree that doesn't grow much deep. Its roots are not so much deep. But what's fascinating about the redwood is that it intertwines with the roots of other redwood trees, just so that when a thing comes, a storm comes, or any adverse weather condition, it still stands strong because its roots are intertwined to one another, with one another. And with that, I'm leaving you that together, we just help one another. If we just do some referrals, if we just ask help from one another, then together we can survive these trying times. Good morning, everyone. And I'm done.
Hi, Miss Giselle. Thank you. There. We try to, as Miss Juliet, our moderator, tries to come in. Miss Giselle, can you hear me? Yes. Thank you, Miss Giselle. I will try to, while our moderator is trying to come in, maybe we would like to invite everybody to please post in your questions in the question and answer section of this platform. Maybe we could run through here the reminders for question and answers. For your questions, kindly type at any time your questions in the Q&A box. We will accommodate as much questions as the time permits. And also to ask a question in person, you will have to indicate first in the chat box that you would like to ask this in person. So you could come up on stage and we could recognize you so that you would be able to ask your questions in person. And then microphones will remain mute and the video cameras turned off, and until you're given an opportunity, to ask your question here up on stage in the platform. I'm not sure if Miss Giselle is hearing me. Miss Giselle, are you hearing
Yeah.
me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So we're while we're waiting for Miss Juliet to come in, I think there's, as we have experienced earlier, there's problems in terms of internet connection. Hi, Miss Juliet. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hello, Miss Juliet. Can you hear us? Oh, as we mentioned earlier, as Mr. Shell mentioned earlier, we're having problems on interconnection. We're coming in from different places in the Philippines. So yeah, from Davao, and I think Juliet's in Bulacan, and I'm from here in the Metro Manila. So there. So please have your questions pour in so that we could start with it as we wait for Ms. Juliet, our moderator, to come in. Ms. Giselle, are you ready? I think we have a question here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we have a question here from Ms. Sherry Grace Rodriguez. She's saying, can you suggest other more strategies for our learners regarding their mental health well-being?
Okay, thank you, Miss Sherry, for that question. So, are there more strategies for the learners regarding the mental health well-being? Actually, I think not only the guidance center should be doing this, but even the clinic must have that that awareness or that campaign in social media, because as we can see, most of the problems with mental health are actually also having connection with the physical health of students. So example, kaya pala they feel so down at the moment because they haven't slept well or they are not eating the right kind of food. So ako kasi I'm also dwelling on the overall mental well-being. That is why if I may suggest, not only shall if the guidance center will focus on the coping mechanisms, the thinking it right, the positive thinking, etc., then some offices may want to do the other stuffs like teaching our students to eat the right kind of food, to sleep well, never forget about their even the mere taking a bath. Yeah, because it has been said pala that those people who feel that they are emotionally down may not have taken a bath for days. So um, health hygiene such as that actually can also help empower the and uplift the mental health state and well-being of our students. At the same time, because of us being connected to Catholic schools, also the spirituality center of each institution may also want to incorporate spiritual activities on social media, getting them to watch parties and live videos of what do you call that, very uplifting videos that will really help them on such a time as this. So talagang it's everyone working this time. Everyone's collaborating just so that we know that our students, even if we don't see them face to face, we know that they are currently on a right frame and currently on a good mental health state. So that's it.
Hello, good morning.
Okay, thank you, Ms.
Thank
Giselle.
you.
I think we have Juliet back. Welcome back,
Yeah.
Juliet.
Thank you,
I'll
Miss
leave you
Reg.
to for a more intelligent
Yeah.
discussion. Okay.
All
you,
right.
you.
Thank you for covering up, Miss Reg. That's a very good answer, Miss Giselle, no? And yeah, uh, we don't have another question yet. Siguro I just want to say that na-mention nga ni Miss Giselle kanina, we should face the student not with an empty cup. So thank you for that positive ending, the sharing of your story. And we started like most of us are happy when we started, and then you lay down the specifics, very clear explanation of how to create mental health and what we need to do. But then at the back of our mind, of course, especially if we're a new counselor, like parang, oh, ang dami palang gagawin and that all. So, but guys, we are all in this together. So just put in your question and let's answer them one by one. Okay, so we have another question from Simon Peter. Because of the change in the learning setup, some students may be susceptible to separation anxiety. How will we address that correctly?
Okay. Separation anxiety. Can I just know separation anxiety with whom?
Let's see.
I
Maybe
just
that's with peers, no? Kasi new learning
Peers.
setup. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. How are we going to separation anxiety with peers? Well, actually, yeah, because the problem there is that they are physically distanced, right? But I want to believe that these friends and peers are not socially distanced. That's why we are changing di ba, Miss Juliet, we are changing the term. It's actually not social distancing because we still get to connect with peers and with family on a different platform. It's just like more of a physical distancing that's happening this time. So even if they are away from their classmates, they still get to chat with one another, do some video calls and all. If we are pertaining to the separation anxiety with how do you call that? With
Peers.
other students, with peers. And I think if this is what I encountered during a Zoom session in a synchronous learning environment, nung andun na kami lahat in one online classroom, I give them time to talk with one another. So they are at a particular time, they are not muted, so they get to hi hello with their other classmates, and then para lang ma-address yung nami-miss nila yung isa't isa, and so on and so forth. So I guess things like that, we just have to intensify our online means of kumustahan and connecting them with one another. So I hope
Yes.
I answered a little.
You answered well, Miss Giselle. Actually,
Thank you.
to add up to that, siguro, yeah, kailangan nating pagtibayin yung kumustahan session. And if you haven't started your school yet, prepare for a module for that kumustahan session. The students will appreciate it a lot because, we've been cut off abruptly from the last school year. So it's good to wrap first the last school year in order to start for a new one. So let's listen to what they think and what they feel. Yeah, and it's good that they could also get to interact with each other. And second, siguro, Miss Giselle, maganda din na they could, what's this? They could set up a peer counselor or...
Yes.
Yeah, to they are more open to students their age. So we could maximize the help of other students also in that aspect. Okay. We still have another question, Miss Giselle, from Miss Cherry.
Okay.
Thank you po. Also po, now that classes are online, what can school administrators do in order to have their teachers' mental state healthy? Wow. Okay.
Like we will all benefit from this question, no?
Yes.
I think talaga dapat yung the continuous open communication between school admin and their employees must all the more be intensified during this time, because it's not like we can have that physical meeting. If we want to set up an appointment with a school admin, we can still do that. It's different this time, but I guess the school admin can tap. I'm speaking from, kasi it's different on my end because I'm speaking from the teacher's part. I'm not the school admin, no. But I think if I'll have to make some suggestions, the school admin this time can tap the services of the HR, the Human Resources Department, because in the first place, that's one of the many responsibilities that the HR can do to really check on the current mental health, the state of the current mental health of their employees. How are they right now that they're working from home? How are they that they are doing online classes and not having enough funds for the Wi-Fi connection and so on and so forth? Um, Practically, what I'm hearing from people around is that the one that's adding burden as of this time is yung added, yun nga, the internet connection that you still have to finance your own load for the internet connection. So I guess a little support on added budget for the loading, for the, what do you call that, um, the internet connection will ease up that little anxiety for our teachers who are doing things like that, no? And basta I just think that the teachers must have that open line communication to the admin, just so that if they have anything more to add up, to address, they can just open that up. And the HR, in the same way that I told you about the capacity building a while ago, the HR must come up as well with coaching and seminar webinars that will also tell us what to do, how to address our increasing anxiety and etc. So, yun po.
Thank you, Miss Giselle. Thank you for being the voice of some counselors and teachers, no, shouting out to administrators, because that's very important. That's the first support that they need. Just like what you said a while ago, diba, we shouldn't start with an empty cup. We need to equip our teachers and other mental health practitioners, like yung i-involve natin sa team natin na i-build for mental health. We really need to have trainings for them kasi it's very hard na isabak natin sila sa gyerang hindi sila handa. So, it will be very disastrous pag nangyari yun, no? And then, but of course, we are talking about the limitations also on the part of the administrators in the school. Siguro as counselors, we just need to be passionate with our work and do with whatever we can. If we could offer our own kumustahan session with the teacher, we could do that. Maybe it's a big help for them. And yeah, I think let's start from that. It's like what Don Bosco, no, is doing, like doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. So we just have to, sometimes start with ourselves also. But of course, we have to take care of ourselves also. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And we have another. Okay, what's else? Yeah, support for internet connection is a good one. Guys, put in your questions. Sayang naman yung moment na to with Miss Giselle. Mahirap hagilapin ang kanyang expertise. So yeah, let us take this opportunity, no, to ask questions. Sabi nga ni Susan Roses, wag mahihiyang magtanong. Diba? So, okay. While waiting for the questions, siguro, let me just look at my notes of the things that I have highlighted here. Yes. Okay. Siguro I'd like to emphasize the important points that I take out from this webinar from Ms. Giselle. Siguro, first thing is we cannot handle everything. We cannot handle everything, so we have to ask for help from all the people around us. And this is the time really that we should collaborate more with administrators and also with parents, because parents has a very important role being inside the house. Okay. What else? Siguro I have a question, Miss Giselle, if I may.
My question din actually on the Q&A, ma'am.
Oh, wait. There's a question. Okay. Okay, from Randy, sorry. We in the Guidance Center are on a 15 days work schedule with, of course, half salary. How can we convince our admin that we are essential employees as well as the students and employees need us too as guidance counselor. Thank you.
I can feel the emotional toll, no, on this
Yeah.
question. First of all, Sir Randy, present them with the mental health law, because that's the backup that you need to have. The mental health law is enough for them to know that we are essential workers at such a time as this pa talaga. And um, it's in the law, it's stipulated there that must uh, everyone has the right to receive or to have an access of a mental health service. So if you're working not on a day-to-day basis, like shifting lang and all, so how can we address that, diba? A good letter a good position paper with backup with a mental health law is a good first step. And also, parang nawala ako, pero yun basically you present that through a formal written communication, and then back it up with a mental health law. And by the way, just yesterday I've read an advisory from the DepEd that, diba, the first, but of course it's DepEd. The first week will be about the mental health. Yun yata yung i-address sa mga students. So, include that up. Like, how can you come up with activities on that 1 week straight of mental health, doing this and that, if you will not be given more time to work with with the other mental health providers in school. So, yun po. Back it up with literatures, back it up with the mental health law, and I think with prayers, they will be open that we are indeed essential workers in this very time.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Giselle. Yes, Sir Randy, you are essential. Okay, we have a comment from Salve. It says, as for not having an empty cup, I'm just doing my daily writing before starting my day. And it helps a lot. So, a
Yes.
tip from Salve.
Journaling is very good.
Yes. We have a question from Cherry Grace. Can we have just one mental health program for teachers, learners, and parents, or does it have to be separate, yung tatlo? I mean, in creating a mental health program for the school.
Okay, actually, ma'am, the mental health program is one. Just one. Pero, yung activities now would address the different stakeholders. So, just one mental health program in that particular school, dun na lang po magkakaiba sa activities that you're going to come up with. So, these will be activities for students, learners, activities for employees, and activities for parents. So, do not confuse yourself that you have to craft three different mental health programs, kasi it will be one community-based mental health program addressing to all the community therein. So yun po.
Okay, so I guess what Ms. Giselle is saying is you have to start crafting your program now and involve everyone, and also including all stakeholders. Siguro in addition to Sir Randy's question a while ago, how will you convince your administrators to get on with your with how important you are? Sabi nga niya, use the mental health law. I think that's the cue to that. So create a program, present it with the mental health law. Okay. My question pa ba? Let's see. Okay. Ako, Miss Giselle, question ko lang siguro, how do we prep as a counselor, no? Knowing this kind of setup, this online counseling, na nasa bahay tayo, may mga kids, we have all our duties here, nandyan lang, paglabas natin nandyan na. How do we prep ourselves? Yes po.
Again, ma'am, can you
How do we prepare ourselves as a counselor so that we can give 100% of, being a counselor when we are in the online counseling sessions?
Okay. I think, ma'am, number one is really to wake up very early on that particular day and try to just take it in at the very start of the day, because when everyone's up and awake, the kids are up and you have to cook and this and that, not having that private time with yourself at the beginning of the day will eventually try to do something. I don't know if you can if you will agree to this, na parang when you wake up so late and parang the day has already started for everyone at home, then yun na, parang ang hirap ng ihabol. So I guess if you are like in a particular day, you are preparing for a counseling session, make sure that you have found a solitude on that day, particularly early in the morning. Breathe in and out. Make sure that, but of course, make sure that you're also well rested. That's very important. Do not have a session if you are not well rested, because the thing there is, if you are too sleepy and you are too tired, you will not, alam natin yan, di ba? You may not be very attentive to the need of the learner or to the client there. So, yun siya. That's one thing, your personal preparation, your mindfulness at that very time. And it's also good to coordinate with the people at home. Like, in my case kasi, the only time that my toddler can be taken care by my husband is only at night. So, yun. Set up a particular time. But of course, I'm handling college students, so that's a different thing, no? That's different with youngsters. But in my case, yes, I get to have set up a time that I know I do not have any responsibilities at all, just so that I can focus my entire time on my client during that time. Yun po. So, yun siya. Prepare yourself, your health, literally your place, your counseling place at that time. If you can also technical preparations, you also can buy the noise reduction, 'di ba? Noise reduction ng mga thing para kahit nagba-bark, alam naman natin po na pag meron tayong mga activities online, doon pa talaga nagsisipag ano yung mga aso, yung mga manok and all. So I think technically speaking, this can help us na para hindi rin nagko-cause ng disruption to the other end. Yun, ma'am.
Thank you for that wonderful and realistic tips. Okay, we have a question from Leia. It was hard in the guidance office. We know that the teachers were essential, but also just like the teachers, we also needed training such as how we can connect to students through online platforms. And since we reduce the personnel, how can we actually share to them that we also need the help from the administrators? And not all students are very much accommodating with the online modes of counseling.
Okay.
Okay.
So, can I just read it again?
So I guess she's asking about how to convince again the admin for the support. And second is how to convince student that online counseling is, very much feasible. Kasi some are not like accustomed to it. So parang hindi sila sanay. Ganun.
Sige. Okay. Wait, ma'am ha.
Right.
Okay. Eto. Sorry, I'm having a personal dilemma at the moment. Okay, so we know that teachers are essential, but also just like the teachers, we also need a training, such as how we can connect to students through online platforms. And since we reduce personnel, how can we actually share to them that we also need the help from the administrators? And not all students are very much accommodating. So this is a question with so many branches of question.
Yes.
Let's start first with, may I just know, Miss Leia, if you are from what? You're a teacher or from the guidance, or probably she's a teacher, ma'am, no?
Yeah.
She's a
Oh, wait.
teacher, and
No, she's a counselor.
it was her. I know the
And
teacher.
then, yeah, she's a counselor. She recognized the need of the teacher for training, but she's also saying this as a counselor, she also need training.
As a counselor, you also need training.
Uh-uh.
Okay, wait. Sorry, I'm having a hard time navigating. Okay, we are talking about like, so how can we actually share to them that we, parang ito yata ma'am eh, how can we
That
actually share to them that we also need the help from the administrators?
Mhm. That they
We
also need
also,
training.
yeah.
Uh-uh.
If you are from the guidance, I know that our professional organizations like the PGCA, Pacers, and other professional organizations are actually giving us um, free seminars so that we can be of help. Thank you also Don Bosco for also trying to help at this time. So I guess in telling the administrators that we need help, like before telling them that, I would like to encourage everyone to really take advantage of the many free webinars that are out this time. Okay, grab a chance to really register yourselves in webinars, and if there's a need, then I always believe in open communication. You just request the admin that you need help when it comes to capacity building and for a lot more of webinars and uh, seminars that you might need. And then that's it. Parang nawala yata ang question and answer. Okay.
It's there.
Oh my G. Okay. I'm going to give the parting words na daw.
Yeah, because we're running out of time.
Yes.
Siguro, finish na lang the last question and then, yeah,
There's still one question.
last question. Yes.
For a while naman.
Okay. Okay, so we're running out of time, so we will have a last question, and we're still waiting for Miss Giselle. Siguro, I just would like to encourage the participants here to really start your mental health program. Make it simple and achievable. And yeah, just as what she is saying, you have to take advantage of all these free webinars that you can take hold of. In the past, we have to pay like, hello, we have to pay seminar fees, but now it's free, so we have to take advantage of it. Okay. So while waiting for Miss Giselle, let's just let me share to you some insights that I have. Yes, it is important to develop linkages, no, and not only linkages, but personal linkages or personal relationship with other mental health practitioners. So develop friendship. That's what Ms. Giselle is saying. And when you create your program, when you go back to your school and create your own mental health program, you have to go through the process, starting, of course, from needs assessment. This needs assessment will help you back up your program. So your needs assessment will be your you will present this to your administrators para ma-convince sila that there's a need for this program. At yun yung magiging source of budget mo, yung needs assessment mo. Meaning that it's really a need in your community, and so your administrator will support you for that. Okay, Miss Giselle's back. Hello? Naka-mute ka po, Miss Giselle.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess because of our time constraint, we need your last words of wisdom and inspiration.
Thank you, Miss Juliet. Thank you, first of all, Don Bosco, for this opportunity to be able to really share our advocacy on mental health awareness. Thank you as well to the Psychological Association of the Philippines for giving me the chance also to speak to you today. So I really stand in honor to everyone who came to this webinar. As it has been mentioned, we have guidance counselors, school administrators, and subject teachers who are here listening and really taking time to equip yourselves. I think for us, that is so humble of us to really acknowledge that we don't know everything yet. And even if probably we've gone through a lot of seminars already in the old normal, and yet you are still here, really just being an open cup this morning just so that you can take in more. Kasi wala kayong acne. Acne meaning wala kayong alam ko na yan syndrome. And that's very good for us that we always keep ourselves updated, trained, because there are still a lot of things to know more. To know about our profession, to know about the learners that we have, because they are very special and they have just a different character that's entirely different from who we are and who we have been in the past. So I would just like to reiterate the thing that I've said a while ago. You as a cup, you'll have to always be filled up just so that you can give more. And in the course of time that we are doing all these things, providing help, also be open to receive help from others. Also take care of yourselves, because at the third wave, as it has been mentioned by some health providers, as the third wave of all these things will happen, the mental health crisis is going to happen. We need to be fully equipped during that time. We need to be fully healthy during that time, because now that it hasn't reached that yet, 'di ba? Nafi-feel na natin, we can already see that it's taking a toll on people. So as we are as soldiers and as soldiers of this pandemic, we need to really be equipped as of this time and prepare yourselves for the battle we are going to do. But we know that if God is with us, no one will be against us, and we can all finish this well. We can all finish this strong. So God bless you, everyone, and keep inspiring others. Be tired, but don't quit. All right? Good morning.
Thank you, Miss Giselle. Well, so much have been said, and we have learned so much from Miss Giselle. Siguro on my end, I'd like to say, guys, don't panic. Don't panic. Kaya nyo to. You are bring yourself in the whatever online counseling, however you call it, in the telecounseling. Whatever applies before, the things that you did, they still applies. It's just another platform, another venue, but it's still the same. You can use whatever skills and strengths that you have, and keep calm. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Miss Giselle, for a very enlightening input. And thank you, Miss Juliet, for an enriching discussion with Miss Giselle. So I'm sure our audience have been enriched and they have learned a lot from this morning's discussion. And I'm sure there's a lot of other, this would mean a lot of work, yes, but at least it's something that would give direction for everybody. So thank you very much for that. So also I would like to thank our attendees. Thank you very much for staying with us for the whole morning. I'm sure you have been rewarded by your stay with us, by joining us this morning. So if you want to be rewarded some more, if you want to learn some more, do attend our other Chalk Talk online sessions. Maybe we'd like to show our slide for the our other online sessions, Chalk Talk online sessions. There's going to be one tomorrow. It's going to be on curriculum development on the new normal. So, and then there's going to be another one that's going to run on Wednesday next week. It's going to be the 7th and the last run with the UP Open University series on remote teaching and learning. And then the Chef series, the Christ Evangelization series, will run on Friday. Yes, on Friday next week. There. So that's what we have discussed. No? So that's going to be August 8th, Saturday, tomorrow. This is the curriculum design, the new normal. The topic will be review of curriculum theories and development within the context of online learning. So, and then on Wednesday, August 12th, next week, it's going to be as I've mentioned, the last installment of the UP Open University's remote teaching and learning series. It's going to be on quality assurance in remote teaching and learning. And then on August 14th, that's a Friday, it's going to be the Christ Evangelization and Faith series, prayer life and accompaniment. So I'm sure as what you have experienced today, I'm sure you're going to learn a lot from this our other Chalk Talk online series. It's ongoing. If you haven't downloaded yet your handouts for this session, please do while you have time. And then just a reminder, just a few reminders on for those who have registered for today's Chalk Talk online, you're going to receive your certificates in 2 weeks' time. We'll be sending it to you through your emails. And then and then those who have registered will also be receiving the recording of today's session. And then also in the future, in maybe next week, it will also be up in our YouTube channel. And then please do accomplish the evaluation survey at the end of this session. This will help us to improve how we manage Chalk Talk online. Thank you very much for staying with us, and we look forward to having you again tomorrow and some other sessions next week. Thank you and have a good day. Bye.
Quality education through quality textbooks.